Another duly noted podcast comes to you from the Coach's Podcast Room at Spurrier's Gridiron Grill in Celebration Point. Hello again, everybody, and welcome to another edition of another duly noted podcast presented by Titan MRI from the Meldon Law Gator Studios. We're trying to figure out how to get my head between these helmets. So I think I can go like one segment this way and one segment this way. Then you see the full helmet. I don't know. Anyway, we got a good show today. Coach Spurrier will be here in a little bit. And then on Friday, our usual Friday show, Dan Cross, the captain and point guard of the 94 National Championship Final Four team. They got to the Final Four. Should have won that game. Questionable call. We'll bring it up. But anyway, I want to talk to him about something that is going to be a theme I'll talk about later in the show about going forward. What needs to happen at the University of Florida, but also reliving some of those memories and the fact that we will be in the Final Four that following day. So and what that was like for him. So that'll be great to have him on Friday. Let's get to the Handlaw starting lineup. We appreciate Handlaw as always. The starting lineup is presented to you by Handlaw, a Florida law firm which helps clients with government. You can learn more about Handlaw by visiting its website at www.hand.law. The firm is available for consultation in Jacksonville. We appreciate the great Chris Hand. Number one. What do I say about spring football? No good news can ever come out of there. There's nothing good that can happen. A lot of the stuff that comes out is just coach speak and stuff. But if somebody gets hurt, you worry about it. And here it happens with Keon Zipper. Looks like he could be DFY, done for the year. And tight end that at least came back and wanted to play, senior. That's not a good start for the practice. I mean, people get hurt, and that happens, and I get that. But, and the whole thing with this guy from Baylor, Muskuya, whatever his name is, I can't wait to see what happens because then he deletes his tweet. We talked about it Friday, and I'm like, I guarantee you by the time I get to Saturday morning, something will have changed. And I said that, I think, on the show, and it did. And tweet. I don't know. I don't know what's going on over there. That's all. I'm just going to leave it at that. But just know, if you get news, breaking news, Florida football never can be good in the spring. Unless they said Spurrier, Donovan to coach teams. How about that? That would get us excited. Meyer on special teams. Donovan bringing Shiat, Donnie Jones, Anthony Grant back to be assistant coaches. That'd be a headline that people would. Breaking news. They'd like that. Other than that, no, it's not going to be good in the spring. All right, number two, the Final Four is set. It is weird. UConn. I'll give you the spreads. Early spreads. Here you go. UConn -5.5 over Miami. San Diego State -2 over FAU. Who saw this coming? I will say this. They showed the stats for, I think it was 2.2% of the people had Miami in the Final Four. Yeah, that I would be one of them. I had Miami in the Final Four. Of course, I also had Alabama in the Final Four. That didn't work out. In fact, I had Miami playing for the national championship in my thing, so I got something right. And, when they send you that, well, I'll talk about that a little bit later. You get these verifications about how bad you're doing. It's kind of sad. I didn't watch any of the Elite Eight games. I watched a little bit of the end of the Miami game. I think I was basketballed out just so much. And it was me. I did it to myself. I watched basketball in December. I watched basketball all year. I watched, 3, 4, 5 games a week. Parts of sometimes 8 or 9 games. Weekends were just ridiculous. And watched all the conference tournaments and as many games as I could watch. I watch a lot of TV. It's a problem. I have a problem, okay? I watch too much TV. But I want to be well educated for the things I do, whether it's this or radio show or all the writing I do for Gators Wire and the UF Magazine, other people, have come in and asked me to do stories. I mean, look, I want to be, I don't want to go, I don't know, let me call somebody. No, I want to know what's going on. Okay, that's my point. I'm just trying to continue to be a good journalist. But this, I watched so much that when it got finally down to the Elite Eight and I just didn't care that much, I said, no, I don't want to watch. I have no interest. The games weren't that exciting either, and you kind of just flipped them. And that's the problem with the basketball tournament is that the first 2 weekends, or actually the first weekend, the Thursday through Sunday, is the most amazing thing you've ever seen. You're freaking out. Upsets and everything. I mean, it's everything. Stories, guys you get to know for the first time. It gets to that Elite Eight, Sweet 16. Sweet 16 is still pretty good. You got 6 games, and you feel like you're being rewarded for being a fan, for wanting to watch stuff. You're being rewarded. You're being told, hey, you know what? You've watched a lot of here. You're being rewarded with a lot of great games that have unbelievable implications. But by the time you get to the 8, you're just kind of, okay. I got one negative rooting thing with Miami, but it's not that big a deal. The heck with it. So I played golf, and it wasn't good. All right. Number 3, Gator baseball. Caglione hits 4 homers. He's now got 17 more homers than singles. 17 homers, 16 singles. That's not bad. But the main thing is Florida swept Ole Miss. Now, Ole Miss is not as good. They got some arm injuries. They're not as good as they were a year ago when they won the national title, if you may recall that. Obviously, they're 0-6 in the league right now. But Florida is a lot better than they were a year ago, and that is the difference. Florida won despite its starting pitching not pitching very well. Sproat was not good at all. Waldrop was mediocre, which seems to be kind of a pattern going on here. I don't even know if you can't call it a quality start, but it was a start, and it got anyway. And then Caglione, as good as he struck out a bunch of guys, but he walked 8 guys in I think less than 3 innings. So that was bad. Now, obviously, he made up for it in other ways, but the bottom line is the starting pitching didn't do good, and the relief pitching did. So this is what we were criticizing before. We were telling you guys their relief pitching is so bad, they're in trouble, they're done, they can't. And now all of a sudden, Sully figures that part of it out. Now he's got to kind of go back and figure out the starting pitching. It just wasn't good this weekend, and you won 3 against the defending national champ. That's pretty good. Florida now, I think they're 20. I wrote this down somewhere. Gosh, dang it. I think they're 22-4 and 5-1 in the conference. Ole Miss is 0-6 in the conference. That's tough sometimes. That can happen very easily. Florida softball, I haven't been able to figure that out at all. This is number 4 on the hand loss starting 5. They won an unbelievable game on Saturday night, and I watched it. And then on Sunday, by the time I went to flip it on, it was over, and in trouble. And they ended up losing that game 14-1. That was the final. They got run rule. So I don't know about this team yet. I keep reminding myself of this. Last year, I was the guy who stood up here, sat in the radio, and said, hey, you know what? Florida's not making it to Oklahoma City with this team. Said it multiple times. Then they were there. Next thing you know, they're there. They're at Mickey Mantle's. They're at all these other great places, the Biting Sow. I don't think that's what it's called anymore, but it's a great place to go if you ever get a chance to go there. But the point is, they were there. I was not. So they were right, and I was wrong. But right now, a little bit of a struggle. 3-3 in the SEC, still a long way to go. Finally, number 5 on the hand loss starting lineup. We've had kind of weird Final Fours like we did this year. I think it was 2011 maybe. There was a year where there was a bunch of weird seeds in there. But certainly everybody's saying, well, is this what we're going to have now because of transfer portal and NIL? And certainly I think it is going to make that happen. I mean, I think NIL is certainly going to have a major factor on this. But, and for example, just this week we found out that Armando Bacot from North Carolina is going to come back for another year. We find out just this morning Tyrese Proctor is coming back at Duke for another year. Guys are coming back because they like college, and they are able to, put NIL deals together that make it great for them. So I think this is, even with the COVID year, eventually will wear off. I don't know if it wears off yet, but it's going to wear off eventually. This is college basketball. Older teams, experienced teams, teams that have been through it. It's going to be tough to beat them. I think so. All right, we'll take a break. We'll come back with Coach Spurrier. You are watching or listening to another Dooley Noted podcast presented by Titan MRI from the Meldon Law Gator Studios. Hello there, everybody. I'm Pat Dooley, of course, from another Dooley Noted podcast. And this is a great Adam Brewer, and he's just opened up a place here, Adam Brewer To Go. What gave me the idea to do this, to have a to-go place like this?
We really like the fast concept, being able to get the barbecue. Now we have this new online ordering. So before it was a call ahead carry out, quick service. We have like a curbside kind of a deal where everything's ready to go for you. And then we thought, wow, we have a really great dine-in concept, but how can we make this streamlined for the customer and make it easy and accessible for all parts of town?
Adam's Rib Co. To Go. Come on down and enjoy it.
Albert, Alberta, I understand you were witnesses to a crash. Can you tell us about the accident? When you're in a crash, it's important to get witness statements immediately after the accident. Whether you're in a car, truck, motorcycle, scooter, or even a golf cart accident, at Meldon Law, we won't back down.
Great food, great atmosphere, a diverse menu, everything made from scratch, plenty of space, and locally owned. These are all the characteristics of a great restaurant, and you can find each and every one of them right here in Gainesville at Ballyhoo Grill. Ballyhoo Grill prepares all of their food fresh every day, from their salad dressing to their award-winning soups. Bring your family and enjoy dinner under the Tim Trebo Tiki Hut while listening to live music. Or if you're running low on time to eat out, they also deliver through Uber Eats, Bite Squad, and Postmates. A Gainesville staple that's been open for over 30 years. Check out Ballyhoo Grill on Facebook or at ballyhoogrill.com.
Things have certainly got a little out of hand lately when it comes to just buying our everyday necessities. Just look at gas, streaming services, and heck, even chicken wings. Well, there is one necessity that shouldn't cost a ton: taking care of yourself and helping fix all the aches and pains in life, and the fine folks at Titan MRI agree. With costs a fraction of what you'd pay at a hospital, you'll not only save money, you'll be taken care of by staff with over 20 years experience. So when you need an MRI, call Titan first, and you can go where your doctors send their families. Now offering CAT scans.
As the oldest Gator booster club in the world, Gainesville Quarterback Club gives you access to elite speakers like coaches, NCAA football insiders, Gator greats, and more, including yours truly. Share your passion for Gator football with hundreds of other members at weekly in-season meetings, home game tailgates, and special events throughout the year. Join the Gainesville Quarterback Club today. Trial membership until April 11th only, featuring Billy Napier and Tommy Townsend. Email the club at membership@quarterbackclub.org. That's membership@quarterbackclub.org, or call me, and I'll let you get to the right people. All right, we are back here at another Dooley Noted podcast presented by Titan MRI from the Meldon Law Gator Studios. And, of course, Meldon Law, also the sponsor of Coach Spurrier's segments here. We appreciate them. We appreciate Coach Spurrier being with us every Monday. It's been an interesting couple of weeks here going basketball-wise. There's been a lot going on in different things. Florida's had some injuries and some things happen in spring training. But I want to see what you want to talk about to start out.
Mm-hmm. Well, obviously basketball, I guess, is the big topic right now. Who would ever thought that FAU and Miami way down in the bottom land, as we call South Florida, are in the Final Four, Miami and FAU. And sort of be neat if one of them would win the thing, I think, especially FAU. I think everybody's sort of pulling for those guys.
Yeah, and again, Dusty was a coach here under Mike White for a while. Kind of got himself ready to be a good coach there. It's kind of funny because until this year, there were 3 schools that have been in the Final Four. Florida, obviously 5 times, JU and FSU. And let me tell you what, I was a huge JU fan. I don't know, that was like 1970. You were already out of college and over in San Francisco. Were you aware of what was going on with Jacksonville?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Was that Artis Gilmore?
Yeah, Artis Gilmore and those guys. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. They went all the way to the final, right? Correct.
All the way. Yep. And then they get the Wick stick. Sidney Wicks kept blocking Artis' shots, and they lost a tough game. But I remember going to games that year, and they actually would do a Harlem Globetrotters routine in pregame because dunking wasn't allowed. Can you believe that?
That's right.
Dunking was not allowed because of Kareem, because of Lou Alcindor. They would not allow you to dunk. So the JU team used to dunk during pregame warmups, and they outlawed that the following year. So they wouldn't let you do that. They just don't want anybody to have any fun. I don't know what was going on there.
Yeah, it's interesting. The rule makers are all different opinion people.
Right.
But I think nowadays what we've all learned is that basketball is a sport that you don't have to be in a Power 5 conference to win it all.
Sure.
And obviously football, hardly anybody's got a chance except the top guys in the SEC, the Big Ten, and so forth, that have a chance to win it all there. So basketball, you have a chance. And I think it's sort of neat, the FAU team. I think a lot of those guys have been down there, 4, 5, 6 years, something like that. And, of course, their player that made those 4 straight free throws, I think he's been there at least 5 years or so. And but that was neat of him to make those 4 in a row, and here they are in the Final Four with a chance to win it all.
Do you think it's better when there are teams like that, or when it's like 4 blue bloods?
Well, for television, they like the blue bloods. In fact, I was watching golf yesterday also, and of course Rory McIlroy and Scotty Scheffler, top 2, maybe the top 2 guys on the tour right now. They both got beat in their semifinal match.
Right.
So TV was probably hoping they'd be
They
playing
did not
in the
like
final.
that.
But they had that consolation match,
Yeah.
And I'd forgotten about it. I'm flipping around between basketball and back to golf, and I see Rory and Scotty playing, and I said, they're showing a replay from a couple hours ago or something. But no, they were playing the consolation. Of course,
match,
I think it was like $500,000 they were playing for. The difference between 3rd and 4th. So they both had a little bit to play for, certainly.
Yeah, it was interesting. But unfortunately, they're going away, actually, the match plays.
Yeah.
It's the last year of that. So that's kind of sad. I like it. Everybody likes it, but it's just a sponsorship thing like everything else is,
Yeah. Dell Technologies out of Austin, Texas there. And that is a beautiful golf course. Those rolling hills around Austin.
Really nice.
Have you been to Austin?
Yeah, I have, a couple
I've been there once. And it is a beautiful city. It really is.
It is. Another beautiful city coming up pretty soon, Augusta, Georgia. Are you excited about the Masters being right around the corner?
It is coming here pretty soon. Yeah, I'm interested in watching those live guys play with the regular tour guys. Hopefully there won't be any arguments. I don't think there will be. But, this is the first of the majors for the year. And if you qualified for the major, you can certainly play in it. So it'll be interesting in watching that also.
All right, there's 2 things I really wanted to talk to you about before we get to the play of the week. One is I did this thing on the 12 best defenses in Florida history. Now, I did it based on modern era, and modern era to me starts when I saw my first game, which was 1962. Okay, so you were in high school?
Yeah.
You were in high school that year. But anyway, the 64 defense made that list. And I had to kind of do some research to find out how good they were. How good were they? Why were they so good that year in 64?
64, I think we were number one in the nation in defense.
might have been, yeah.
And
Yeah.
giving up total yards. Oh, we just had good ball players all over the place. And Coach Gene Ellenson, our D coordinator, was the best. I mean, he got guys fired up and ready to play all the time. If we'd had just a little bit better offense, that team could have won big. But we managed to, lose some close games and this, that, and the other. But, that was one of the best defenses in school history, 1964.
Yeah, they were
Jack
tough.
Katz, Dennis Murphy, Alan Trammell, Bruce Bennett back there.
Bruce Bennett was an All-American, I think, that year, wasn't he?
Yeah, Bruce, free safety. Yeah, I can remember a bunch of those guys. Dick Kirk played defense back in those days. But, it was an excellent defense.
Yeah, they moved him from offense, right? He had that run against Alabama. Mm-hmm. I think 63, ran like 65 yards for a touchdown, but they moved him to defense. But so that team made it, and certainly the 91 team, that defense.
That was a good defense.
Oh my gosh, those guys hurt you. They were physically tough to play against.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, in fact, I sort of looked back and did a little by score of the best defenses we had the 12 years I was there. And I think the 91 team gave up the fewest points of all of them. So defensively, that could have been, in giving up points, I think they were the best of the 12 years that I was here. But we had good defenses every year. We were
you did.
In the conference, we were ranked between first and second. I think about 10 of the 12 years. One year we were ranked 8th, and we won the SEC that year. That was Hoke's year of 2000.
Oh, 2000, yeah.
We'd give up a bunch of yards, and then Lido would get an interception, or another guy would get a fumble. Something good would happen. We'd get a turnover all over the place. And so that team gave up a bunch of yards, but not a bunch of points.
Yeah, the other teams that you coached that made the list I had was 96, which was unbelievable. 98, which to me is the best defense I ever saw. I mean, they had Rutledge, Peterson, and Curse at linebacker. Are you kidding me? I mean, that Bobby Stoops must have been in heaven coaching those guys.
Yeah, that was a loaded defense, our 98 team. But we managed to lose at Tennessee and at FSU, and those two played for the national championship.
I know.
Yeah, stuff just didn't happen very well in those games, and that's the way it turned out.
And the other defense that was on there, that I think people underrate because it was all about Rex Grossman and everything, was 2001. That was a great defense.
Yeah, I think we were first or second in the conference in defense there, and just had one lousy game that knocked us out.
Yep.
That's all it takes.
The other thing I wanted to talk to you about, because we're going to continue this conversation with the guests we have coming up during the next few weeks, is about culture, because we always hear about culture with teams and what is going on with their culture. And it's kind of this vague term, you know what I mean? It's just out there, and nobody really is sure what it was. What does culture mean to you? What is it? What do you have to do to get the culture right?
Well, what it means is you establish your program the way Mouse Holloway has done in track. Every year we're going to compete for conference championships and national. Mary Wise in volleyball, I think we've won like 22 out of 26 SEC titles there. So they're expected to do that year in and year out. And our swimmers, our swimmers are the best in the SEC every year. In fact, to set a relay record, 400 relay record this past week. And proud of our golf teams also. We haven't won as big maybe as swimming and track and so forth and volleyball. But they both finished second in the SEC last year in the tournament, men and women's golf. So maybe this is the year they can put that together. But, that's a culture that when you come here, you expect to do well. You expect to compete for the conference championship and then maybe the national. And, of course, our gymnastics teams probably the big one coming up this week and next week, I think, is the finals for gymnastics. National championship race is starting right here. But we've won like 5 in a row SEC championships in gymnastics. So that's a culture. So when you sign with the Gators, that's what's expected.
Right.
So everybody knows that's what we do here.
But does that culture change because you have to weed guys out or get the right guys in, or does it change just because of who you are as a coach?
Well, it helps when who you are as a coach, and then you train the younger players. Well, first of all, the younger players, when they become older players, they help train the younger players in the sport.
Right.
So then you can pass it down year after year after year. This is how we do things here. But some sports, it changes coaches all the time, and this, that, and the other. They're so dependent on recruiting that I guess that's when it fluctuates some. But so many of our sports here, have had the same coach year in and year out, and they're competing for championships every year.
Yeah, and it's been amazing. It really has. But it is just, I think culture is kind of hard to define in some ways, but you know it when you see it in terms of whether guys play hard at the end of a game, whether they do the right things at the end of the game, whether they got leaders, whether somebody takes everybody at halftime and straightens them out and gets them going in the right direction. It's not, it doesn't just fall into your lap. It has to be kind of established.
And you got to give Alabama credit. Their guys don't bail out of the bowl games.
Oh, I know.
This year they had 2 losses and nothing to win except a bowl game and finish top 5 in the nation. And they said, let's go do that. Let's win the bowl game, and which they did. Bryce Young played, maybe the first pick in the whole draft. And almost all the other schools, players bail out. Say, I don't need to play in this thing. No big deal. How we finish, no big deal. And, of course, as a coach, you can't tell them they have to. They got to want to do it. And give Alabama credit. They convinced their players that that's what they should want to do. And,
he's very good at it. Yeah. And again, that's where where NIL comes into play here. And I mean, here Miami is they got the NIL done right. They did it the right way. Now, whether they did it the right way or not is irrelevant because they did it the legal way, and now they've got a great basketball team. But I don't know if you've ever met Leonardos. I really never spent much time with him. I interviewed him the one year that Florida played Georgia Mason. But the guy seems to know what he's doing. He just keeps winning. And it's pretty amazing what he's been able to do. Yeah,
he has been there a while. And, of course, this is their biggest run, I think, since he's been there.
Yep.
But certainly they have a good team. How did they finish in the regular season of the ACC?
They were like third.
Third or fourth. They didn't win the tournament, though, did they?
No,
they were just good enough to get in.
I think Virginia beat them there,
4 or 5 seeds, something like that. Now they're, playing extremely well. So that's the nature of basketball. Only 5 players on the floor at a time.
Yep.
So if they play better than the other guys, shoot a little bit better than the other guys, get a couple of calls from the referees that could really influence the game, you got a chance to go. But what did you think about the call on the Creighton player yesterday?
I look at everything like, okay, what do you call fast time? That's probably what really happened. But every once in a while, there'll be something. But,
well, it was when it first happened, I said, that was not a foul.
Yeah.
Because his hand went straight up, and the shooter hand, there was no contact whatsoever. But then he grabbed his jersey.
Yeah.
They replayed it, and he grasped it for some reason. I don't know why, but if he had just kept his hand open there, I don't know. But it was a tough call, but at the end of the day, it's one of those, well, he could have called it or he could not have called it, and he did call it.
All right, before we get to our Campus USA Play of the Week, I want to ask you if you've already got a pick for the Masters. Do you have a feel for who's going to win that, or are you going to wait a week?
Oh, I don't know who's going to win it. Scotty Scheffler and Rory McIlroy will probably be the top 2 favorites right now.
Yep.
But, golf's got so many good players, too.
It does,
it
really does.
There's probably about 10 to 15 that could win. I know the PGA Tour is hoping like crazy that one of those live players does not win this tournament.
They had a lot of commercials about how great the tour is during the telecast all weekend.
Yeah.
It was pretty over the top, and I was like, okay, we get it. We're watching it, okay? We're not watching the other channel.
I watched a little bit of it, and it just seemed odd watching guys play in Bermuda shorts.
Yeah,
Half
I
the
know.
guys were wearing shorts. It's actually pretty cold out in Arizona, that tournament they showed.
Music in the background.
But even the Lake Tahoe event, they made us all wear long pants.
Yeah.
We looked pretty professional and so forth. So, but that's how they do it. And then plus they got teams and all kind of stuff involved in it. I don't know if the average golf fan gives a dang about what team wins
they don't.
a tournament.
They don't.
But they got a lot of money. We know that.
I think they
And,
did it for gambling purposes, the team part. Yeah, that's the only
Probably.
thing I can
Could.
think, because I have no interest in what it is.
Yeah.
All right, it is time for our Campus USA Play of the Weekend. And here, we saw this happen a couple of times this weekend, Coach, where Ole Miss was playing Florida. And, of course, here's a pitch to Jack Caglione. That ball is deep, and it's hit a long way, and it's off the batter's eye, way up on it. Another home run. This is about to be crazy when you think about it, that this guy could hit. Right now he's got 18, right? There's another one. Boom. That one's into right field.
Yeah.
I've never seen power like this. The record in college baseball is 40, or the SEC baseball is 40. Mm-hmm. He's at, I think, 18 right now. The Florida record is 26, which was tied last year by Wyatt Langford. It's going to be, it feels like he's going to get to it. Oh, we got to have a third one here. And there, that ball goes a long way, too. So, pretty good swing there. It kind of reminds you of a really smooth golf swing where it doesn't change.
Yeah, he has no hesitation in his swing, does he?
No,
That's
it's
for
just exactly what you would hope it would be. You would keep it consistent on every play.
That's for sure.
So he is our play of the week is Jack Caglione hitting those 3 balls. He actually hit 4 over the weekend.
Yeah.
It's unbelievable.
He's a power hitter. Yeah, our baseball team's got a chance to have a big year.
Yep.
Such a long season.
It is.
You almost have to pace yourself right now, and then hopefully turn it on completely as you get towards the end and so forth.
And find your pitching as it goes along. It might not be exact the way you thought it was going to be to start the year, but it will evolve as it goes. You got anything else, Coach?
Spring football is going
Yes.
on right now, and Jack Miller and the other Graham Mertz, I guess, are fighting it out for the quarterback shot. And April 13 it's a night game, spring game, night game. So
Thursday night.
yeah, I'm hoping both of them get to play like on each other, different teams, and they both get to throw about 30 passes. And let's see what these guys can do. Yeah,
exactly.
let's let them go compete and split up the teams. I don't know exactly how Coach Billy likes to split up spring ball, but hopefully that'll happen, that we can all watch both these quarterbacks and see who's
what
the
they can
best, or
do.
see who's in the lead. I'm sure he'll probably keep a competition open throughout the summer. That's what I did my first year when Shane and those other guys were fighting it out. And it really encourages the quarterbacks to really work hard, work out as often as they can throughout the summer. And that's where Shane became a quarterback, because he was out there firing away about 5-6 days a week, I think. And so when the football season rolled around, he was ready to go.
Also, I don't think you're going to learn that much about how you can run the ball in the spring. Mm-hmm. It's just guys are blocking their friends and everything. And I think I think that's when you have to establish that kind of timing with the passing game in the spring. And Shane did it. We'll see who does it.
Repetition. John Wooden said repetition is the law of learning and the key to consistency. So the more they throw and catch and run routes, this, that, and the other, then the better they can become.
All right. We appreciate Coach Spurrier, as always, brought to you by Meldon Law. And we'll say goodbye to him. We'll take a break. We'll come back with Robbie Andrew playing Yes, No, Where, Maybe, plus all our other fun stuff in the third segment. You are watching or listening to another duly noted podcast presented by Titan MRI from the Meldon Law Gator Studio. Hello there, everybody. I'm Pat Dooley, of course, from another duly noted podcast. And this is a great Adam Brewer, and he's just opened up a place here, Adam Brewer To Go. What gave you the idea to do this, to have a to-go place?
We really like the fast concept, being able to get the barbecue Now we have this new online ordering. So before it was a call ahead carry out, quick service. We have like a curbside kind of a deal where everything's ready to go for you. And then we thought, wow, we have a really great dine-in concept, but how can we make this streamlined for the customer and make it easy and accessible for all parts of town?
Adam's Rib Co. to go. Come on down and enjoy it. Another duly noted podcast comes to you from the Coach's Podcast Room at Spurrier's Gridiron Grill and Celebration Point. You can watch and listen to us on Facebook and YouTube for every podcast that we do on Mondays and Fridays at 2 o'clock. Listen to the podcast whenever on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, Overcast, any of the other 39 platforms where you can find this podcast or your favorite podcast. Remember to like, follow, and subscribe. If you have any questions or comments, leave them in the comments section below or call me if you want to do some advertising at 352-317-3444.
Albert, Alberta, I understand you were witnesses to a crash. Can you tell us about the accident? When you're in a crash, it's important to get witness statements immediately after the accident. Whether you're in a car, truck, motorcycle, scooter, or even a golf cart accident, at Meldon Law, we won't back down.
Great food, great atmosphere, a diverse menu, everything made from scratch, plenty of space, and locally owned. These are all the characteristics of a great restaurant, and you can find each and every one of them right here in Gainesville at Ballyhoo Grill. Ballyhoo Grill prepares all of their food fresh every day, from their salad dressing to their award-winning soups. Bring your family and enjoy dinner under the Tim Trebo Tiki Hut while listening to live music. Or if you're running low on time to eat out, they also deliver through Uber Eats, Bite Squad, and Postmates. A Gainesville staple that's been open for over 30 years. Check out Ballyhoo Grill on Facebook or at ballyhoogrill.com.
Things have certainly got a little out of hand lately when it comes to just buying our everyday necessities. Just look at gas, streaming services, and heck, even chicken wings. Well, there is one necessity that shouldn't cost a ton: taking care of yourself and helping fix all the aches and pains in life, and the fine folks at Titan MRI agree. With costs a fraction of what you'd pay at a hospital, you'll not only save money, you'll be taken care of by staff with over 20 years experience. So when you need an MRI, call Titan first, and you can go where your doctors send their families. Now offering CAT scans.
As the oldest Gator booster club in the world, Gainesville Quarterback Club gives you access to elite speakers like coaches, NCAA football insiders, Gator greats, and more, including yours truly. Share your passion for Gator football with hundreds of other members at weekly in-season meetings, home game tailgates, and special events throughout the year. Join the Gainesville Quarterback Club today. Trial membership until April 11th only, featuring Billy Napier and Tommy Townsend. Email the club at membership@quarterbackclub.org. That's membership@quarterbackclub.org, or call me, and I'll let you get to the right people. All right, welcome back to another duly noted podcast presented by Titan MRI from the Meldon Law Gator Studios. It's time to go to our Big Mills Cheesesteaks Zoom line and see that Robbie Andrews on there, as always. He will be playing Yes, Nowhere, or Maybe, which is brought to you by Big Mills Cheesesteak, street dining done the right way, sponsors of the Bob Dooley Invitational. And if you go in there and talk about this podcast, you can get free fries with your order, no matter what phrase that I never thought I would hear it used by anybody other than you, because you're weird.
Yeah.
Like you're up what? Never caught on. Never.
Oh, I hear it all the time.
No, you don't. You never hear that.
From
you
me?
never hear that. You hear it from you, yeah.
Yeah.
But people have referred twice in the last week on TV to O'Sully. So.
Oh, yeah, good. O'Sully. His name is O'Sullivan, not Sullivan. So O'Sully.
So maybe you have started something there. You should
Don't be
excited.
O'Silly. It's O'Sully.
Well, that's good. All right, here we go with Yes, Nowhere, maybe brought to you by Big Mills Cheesesteaks. Number one, Robbie, you are sad that match play is going away. They had I guess a couple of weeks ago, they announced that it was going away because they had a sponsorship disagreement, whatever. I like match play. I do think it wanes at the end. It's more exciting at the beginning, but you are sad that match play is going away.
Yes, I am, Pat. In fact, that's an emphatic yes. And, I love match play, like the Ryder Cup. You can't beat that. And,
Right.
over the course of a year, having one match play tournament, I think is great. It kind of mixes things up. And the one downside to me in this one was that the number 3 and number 1 players in the world did not make it to the final like everybody was hoping. So it kind of took a little luster off the final 2 pairings there yesterday. But overall, I thought it was, a different thing. I think for the players, the one negative side, it seems to wear the guys out to advance to the final day. All of them were talking about how tired they were at the end. So, but from a fan's perspective, I love match play.
Poor little golfers having to hit a golf ball all the way down the fairway and then walk after it. Jeez.
Having someone carry their clubs.
Yeah, exactly. Carry your clubs, okay? All right, number 2. You were excited because on Thursday they're going to be saying, play ball.
Yeah, Pat, I think I will. I'm not a huge baseball fan, but I have a favorite team, the Twins, as you know, and you have the Braves. And so, after all these months off, everybody thinks they're going to be better, this year. And it's just, I like the opening of baseball. It does drag on over the course of the year, and I don't watch any games with the Twins when they're on. But, yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I think it'll be good.
I like opening day. I'm not romantic about it. The green grass looks so bright I couldn't see, and you could smell the popcorn.
You're talking about Sam Dolson there.
Or Billy Crystal.
Yeah.
But, no, I'm not that guy. But I do like the beginning of the season, and then about 10 games in, I'm like, somebody wake me up when we're getting down to the serious part of it.
Yeah. Pat, the main thing to me is I just basically follow my team, and nobody else matters to me. So that's kind of the way it is with me in baseball.
All right, and number 3, Robbie, on the Yes, No, Where, maybe brought to you by Big Mills Cheesesteak. Jack Caglione hits 40 homers this year. 40. He's got 18 as of today.
I'm going to say yes, Pat, and that's just based on the fact that, the weekend he had. That just shows you how explosive he is and how home runs could come in bunches for that guy. So, and there's so much more to play this year, the whole basically SEC schedule almost. So, yeah, I think he's going to do it. I think he'll hit 40 home runs. He's a special talent, and, like this weekend showed, he can put up numbers in a hurry.
Yeah, I think a lot of it's going to depend, Robbie, on how they pitch him, because I think there's a lot of guys in this league that go, I want to watch me. I'm going to strike out this guy who may be the number 1 pick next year, not this year, but next year because he's got another year. And a lot of other people could say, hey, 4, get him to first base. I don't care if the bases are loaded. We're not pitching this guy. So it's going to be fascinating to watch that. The first 2 weekend series, he didn't do good last week, and then hits 4 homers this week. So
yeah.
It's
but I agree with that. I mean, a lot of people are going to try to just pitch around him, give him an intentional walk. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They're not going to give him anything to hit out of the park.
All right, my man.
If they're smart.
We will talk to you next Monday. Hope you're doing well, and we'll go ahead and get off of Yes, No, Where, Maybe.
Okay, Pat, and I'll see you tomorrow, okay?
Okay, yeah, radio tomorrow. Robbie and I will
gotcha.
be doing the show tomorrow. Jeff, of course, going to the Florida FSU game in Jacksonville. And we'll talk about that as well in a minute. That was Yes, No, Where, Maybe, brought to you by the great folks at Big Mills Cheesesteak, and we appreciate them very much. I've got to find something here and of course, my computer. This is always what happens. Whenever I'm looking for something, I have a hard time because we're getting to the Ben Eige Odell Realty games of the weekend, but there's also I'm going to get to it. Here it is. There's also a house of the week, too. This house is a house of the week is at Seven Devils between Boone and Banner Elk. Now, I've been to Boone in that area. I love it there. I think it's great. The house of the week, Again, at Seven Devils with between Boone and Banner Elk, with great access to the ski slopes, all the ski slopes. It's listed at $675,000, and with a great log cabin feel. Reach out to find more. Ben Eige, you know how to get a hold of him, 704-201-4264, and that is our Ben Eige Odell Realty House of the Week. And on Friday, we'll give it to you again, just to make sure that everybody heard it. And Ben seems to be getting a lot of contact from people that listen to this podcast. That's the great thing about the podcast. I hear from people all over the place, and it's great. It makes me happy. All right, here are the games of the week for that. We'll start with women's basketball is tonight. If you're listening to this on Tuesday, you already know what happened, but they're playing Bowling Green. It's on ESPN Plus. Tonight at 7 o'clock, or 6 o'clock. Bowling Green's won 30 games. So they must be pretty good, but they're not in the tournament, or the big tournament. But that's one game. Obviously, I said baseball tomorrow against FSU in Jacksonville, that great ballpark up there. It's at 7 o'clock on the ACC network. So if you get the ACC network, you can watch it. If you don't, you have to find it somewhere. Thursday is when gymnastics starts. The Florida is in the regional in Pittsburgh, and it's only on ESPN Plus. I hate to tell you guys this all the time, and I'm not trying to sell ESPN Plus. In fact, the Florida Bowling Green women's basketball game tonight is on ESPN Plus. But I'm just telling you, I get it because that's what they do. This is what the plan is, and I can't worry about it. So that's going on. And then softball, of course, Stetson is playing. They're playing here on Wednesday, 6 o'clock, again on ESPN Plus. So that's the softball schedule for that. I think I covered all the local stuff that's going on. It's going to be it's getting to be the fun time. Thursday night, baseball, Cheesesteaks versus at Houston, and that is the first game that'll be on TV on ESPN. So if you want to watch that. So there's all kinds of stuff going on this week. Enjoy it. And, of course, we don't start back with basketball till Saturday, and we'll give you that on Friday's show. All right. Let's get to the Hesser and Kipke three things. Hesser and Kipke is a Gainesville law firm specializing in the area of workers' compensation and family law. Ken and Jennifer take great pride in their one-to-one focus on each and every client they represent. Ken is board certified in workers' compensation law by the Florida Bar, while Jennifer possesses extensive jury trial experience with a nearly 20-year background as a prosecutor. Don't believe me? Well, check out their more than 55 five-star Google reviews, or better yet, give them a call at 352-339-9920, Hesser and Kipke. Number one, on Hesser and Kipke's three things. It is opening day Thursday. I did check it out. I had no idea it was coming up. Braves play the Nationals at the Nationals. Okay. I guess I got to get fired up. So will I sit and watch that game? I think most cable channels give you the baseball version of where you get every game. I don't know what it's called. I don't know what it's called. They give it to you like the first week, and you get all hooked, and you're like, and then you go, the second week I'm going to go, why did I get this? See, I'm not selling all TV. I'm telling you what to do. But I'm fired up for it, I guess. I don't know, like Tom Hart said, I don't know that we made all the right decisions, but we'll see what happens. All right, number two on Hesser and Kipke, three things. I should have looked up where the Phillies are playing their first game because that's what Ken wants to know. I know that. And he knows already, but he'll tell us. Congratulations to the swimming team, Florida men's swimming. They finished sixth in the men's swimming in the NCAAs, and that's fine. I mean, they did a good job. We kind of get caught up in this, you got to finish first, mentality, but they finished sixth, which is certainly not bad. I think it's like 13 straight years they finished in the top 10. And 3 straight nights, they've broken relay. Coach Spurrier was talking about they've broken relay records, NCAA records for the relay. So that's a great job. They had another swimmer who was actually able to finish. I think he was the third fastest time behind Caleb Dressel in an event. Swimming, I don't talk a lot about swimming, but I want to make sure that they get their congratulations. And number 3 on Hesser and Kipke's 3 things. Interesting to me that the ACC basketball commissioner came out this week and said, we need to readdress some things. We need to change the narrative with basketball in our conference. And I'm like, well, yeah, you got to win more games. You got to beat more teams. I mean, where it's not a narrative thing. Look, it might have been in the SEC back when Mike Slive and Mike Tranghese kind of went after it, and they said, hey, we're going to get the SEC back. And how do we do that? Well, one thing is don't be afraid of hiring coaches. Go ahead and hire them and bring them in here. And sometimes you worry too much about this, that, whether it's he'll clash with the football coach or he's got baggage. Go ahead and hire these guys. And they had a lot of success. And now they've got great success. The SEC, I know, wishes they had a team in the league in the Final Four, but they did have 8 teams in the tournament. The ACC did not do as well, but they do have a team still playing. But it's kind of funny to me. The only reason I even bring this up is that they're doing what the SEC had to do 10 years ago. And now it's gotten to the point where the ACC's got to go, we need to get good in basketball. Who'd have thought we'd ever see that day? That is our Hesser and Kipke 3 thing. Let's go to our Leonardos at Millhopper Quick Picks. We appreciate Kyle Cohen over there, sponsor of the Bob Dooley Invitational, one of the title sponsors, as is Titan MRI. We're just going to give you an easy one here. Gators Knowles, Tuesday in Jacksonville. Give me a winner. I know a lot of you say Gators, and that's fine. They won 20 out of 24, I think, against FSU. But Gators Knowles, that is our Leonardo's quick pick. It's a pretty easy one. It was John Julian that won our last contest we pulled Friday. John, you need to get in touch with me and figure out how to get you your prize. All right, let us get to the Adams Ribco to Go Gator of the weekend. And there was a lot of guys. Look, I could have easily taken, they're calling him Jack Tani because, I like that name. So I could have easily taken him, but I went with Lucas Graff. It could be Grief. Could be Groof. I don't know. I don't know how to pronounce his name. Greif. I think it's Grief. Sounds like Grief to me. Who won his, I think it's his 15th straight match without losing a set. Fifth straight match without losing a set. Now, I know he plays number 5, but still, that's a point. It's just as important a point. And Florida beat Auburn yesterday, number 18 Auburn, 6-1. He also won in doubles. So Lucas Grief, you are our Adams Ribco to Go Gator of the weekend. Just saw Adam the other night at one of our sponsors. Not sponsor of this, so I won't mention them. But maybe we can get them on here. But saw him out at a restaurant. It was great. Always good to see him. All right, it is time for our Pat Dooley Storytime, which is, of course, is brought to you by our good friends Mike Jordan at Eastlake Pediatrics. All right, this is one of those stories I'm going to tell you, and you're going to say, man, you have it made. But I was literally, this is a true story. So I'm at the Final Four. Yeah, I'm at the Final Four, and Florida loses to Michigan State. This is 2000, and but I'm sitting there before the game, and I got a feeling Michigan State's going to win the game. They've got all the older players and everything. But anyway, I'm sitting there and I'm thinking about it, and all of a sudden I go, holy crap, I'm supposed to be at the Masters tomorrow. So literally, I make arrangements to go from Indianapolis to Atlanta. I think I already had a flight there and then go to Gainesville. I just blanked it out. I'd forgotten about it. I got so caught up in the basketball run. So then I go cover the game, go do the stuff I had to do the next day with Billy. It was unbelievable. That's another full story. And then I think I went to dinner, and then on the next morning I got on a plane, flew to Atlanta, drove a car over, said, I'm going to take today off, guys. I've had a rough week, but I'll be at the Masters tomorrow. That's not bad. That's how good I had it. And you could say, well, why did you leave it? Why did you say, I don't want to do it anymore? Because they don't do that anymore. Those people don't do, the newspapers don't do those kind of things anymore. Now, some do, very few, very few. I'm just glad I got to live through it. That's going to do it for our show today. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you enjoyed that story. I got a million of them. I'll come at you all week. Appreciate our great producer, Jared, for doing a great job getting those Cardozo. We wouldn't have any Cardozo homers. I can probably promise you that. But the Caglione homers there, appreciate that. Appreciate Coach Spurrier. Appreciate Robbie Andrew. On Friday, Dan Cross is going to join us, former Gator great. We'll talk to him about what it's like to be in the Final Four, as well as other things. Appreciate all of you. Until next time, I am Pat Dooley. I am deep, I'm way back, and I am out of here.